Okay, so we've got our exposed film in the film holder. So now we need to develop it. I've actually already developed the film, but for the sake of showing this, I can't take the film out in the light. That would ruin the film. So this is just kind of an example of how it would be done. The film's already been exposed, but we're going to run through the steps anyway. Just remember, this has to be done in the dark. So step one, got all this stuff in a dark room or changing bag ready to go. So I'm going to take the film out of the film holder. Just going to basically just slide it out however I can. Probably shouldn't touch the film too much, but oh well. What's done is done. So next step is I've got my film holder from earlier. You can use an empty one, or you can use one that's got some film in it. If it's in the dark and you're not exposing your good film, then you're fine. So in this case, I'm just going to slide the existing piece of film that's in there out. You don't have to have an existing piece of film. If you don't, you're going to have to pull this little plastic flap back and kind of insert the film that way. That's a little trickier. It's easier to do if there's a piece of film in there, even if it's an exposed piece of film, which this is. So it's already got an image on the back and everything. I'm just using it as a holder to make this a little bit easier. So I'm going to reinsert the film on top of the existing piece here. And I want to make sure that the small little developer packet here goes in first, and that the large one is basically covered by the end of this little plastic piece on the film holder. So that's one piece in. Sometimes you have to make sure you pull it all the way in. So we're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the same thing again with our other piece of film. Same thing. I'm just pushing up on the back like I did when I was loading the film to make it a little bit easier. I just push this piece out a little bit, and folds that flap out for me and gives me kind of something to go by here. And then I just push this piece of film in. Make sure it's all the way in there. Just push on this and slide all the film back. That's pretty easy to get it in there. So we've got the film loaded into the Instax film container. So now we just need to take our Instax camera. In this case, I've got a Fuji Instax Mini 90 that I'm going to use for this. Battery is fully charged, and so we're just going to pop open the back here. You'll see there's no film in there. Just going to insert the film like it should be inserted, which is really pretty straightforward. Just kind of push it down here. So the very act of closing this is going to force the first piece of film through. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's the way I'm going to do this. So there we go. Okay, obviously it's already been developed. It doesn't develop that quickly, but that is the image we just took outside earlier. So I'll talk about that here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and do the second one. So I've got two pieces of film in there. Just develop the first one. I can either cover the lens and take a picture, or I could just pop this open and close it again, which is what I have been doing. I think that works pretty well. You don't have to worry about light leaking through if you're trying to cover it with your hand, or the flash being so bright that it causes some additional exposure on the film somehow. So just going to do the same thing again. Force the film through. That's a one that I messed up earlier with my Mini 90, so just using it as a blank here. So there you go. That's, of course, you'd have to wait for your film to develop, but fortunately we already have an image here. So one thing I did want to talk about, however, is this isn't the image I composed. Obviously I wouldn't have cut that off on purpose. I had it lined up at the top of the ground glass. So I think what happened here, and I've yet to test this theory, but I think what's happening, we'll just use this as an example. I think this portion of the film, a piece of 2¼ by 3¼ film would fill up this whole frame, but we have this frame, little plastic frame that goes around the film in the Fuji Instax, so that portion of what I have composed in the ground glass got cut off. So that would have showed up on film, but here I need to make a little bit of a wider composition rather than using the exact corners in the ground glass. So all that to say, the ground glass is not a exact representation of what you're going to see in the frame here, but it does work pretty well. You can see the image turned out pretty well. And you might ask, why would you bother doing all this? It's a lot of trouble. Why don't you just take a picture with the Fuji Instax Mini? I did that, and so here's the picture we took, and this one was upside down, so you can see that I messed that up. So it should have been facing in the film holder like this. I think I had actually loaded it like this, so it's my image being upside down. I guess something else to consider is the image reversal in the with using a ground glass camera. There's no pentaprism to flip the image back over so you see it as you see it in real life. So that may actually be what I've done. I may have thought that the film should have gone like this, right? Because this is the top, but I think actually maybe the film should go like this since the image is reversed. So still trying to figure all that out, obviously. But again, so here's the comparison to the exposure we took with the Graflex camera, and this is one I took with the Mini 90 Neo Classic. Probably could have taken a better image here. The flash automatically came on. Should have forced it to turn off. Maybe a little better composition, but you'll see there's actually bokeh in this photo, and there's none to be had here. So just the opportunities for composing and creating images are, I would say, a little more versatile with this film. So that's the process of doing this and using a Fuji Instax camera and Instax film in a Graflex 2x3 or pretty much any other 2x3 film camera that uses sheet film. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you try this. If you do, let me know in the comments.